What's good, everybody? It's the Clown with Cab Show. UFC 290 was amazing. Every single fight was electric. It was awesome. And I think this card was the best card yet in 2023. I freaking loved it. First and foremost, shout out to Robbie Lawler. Won his last fight in the UFC. What a career. Former champion. He will be a Hall of Famer one day. What a way to go out. First round knockout under 1 minute. It was amazing. Shout out to Robbie Lawler. But, only got 2 fights right this weekend, and let me start with Bo Nickel. That was my lock pick all weekend, was Bo Nickel, and what did he do? Bo Nickel dominated yet again under 1 minute by knockout, and we look at Bo Nickel and say, hey, no, this guy's just a wrestler. That's all he is. No, this guy's a real fighter. We saw his hands last night, and he's got some quick hands. He's explosive. He's fast. He's really strong. He doesn't look strong. I mean, you just look at him and say, oh, okay, he looks like a normal guy, but he doesn't look really like a true UFC fighter. This guy is legit. Bo Nickel will be UFC champion one day. I can just tell. Just his whole demeanor, just his whole, the way he's in the octagon. He's just really calm, super fast, super explosive. And when he knocked that dude out, it was really just like, holy cow. And I'm not trying to, burn down. Look, yes, I understand he had less than a week to train. Same did Bo Nickel. But if I'm Dana White, I'm saying, look, for Bo Nickel, he needs to fight a top 10 guy right now. I mean, I think he's ready, even though he's only, 4 or 5 fights into the UFC. And really, I don't think he's seen a second round. It's been crazy for Bo Nickel. He's only been a professional for a little over a year, about 13 or 14 months in the UFC. He's already in main cards, and this one was legit. And Bo Nickel, he hit him with that right. That's what happened. He set it up perfectly, hit him with the right. You could hear the shot, and you could tell the guy did not like the shot. He got dazed. He was just a little shook, and Bo Nickel hit him with the straight left, dropped him, just ground and pound him, then the ref took him off. Some people were saying it was an early stoppage. I thought it was great. Obviously, if they were going to continue, Bo was just going to really hurt the dude. So I think it was a great stoppage. Early stoppage is silly. That it definitely was not an early stoppage. But Bo Nickel, I'm telling you what, he is a problem. I don't think anybody wants to see Bo Nickel right now. He's hungry. He's fast. And I'm telling you what, he's the best wrestler in the UFC right now. He's a Khabib 2.0, and I'm telling you, dude, he's going to win. He's going to be UFC champion one day, and he's going to defend his belt at 185. He might have to fight Israel Adesanya at one point, but I'm telling you right now, Bo Nickel is legit. And if I'm Dana White, I'm saying, look, Bo Nickel and Chimaev. A lot of people are saying, hey, we want Chimaev and Bo Nickel to fight at 185. Both of them are great wrestlers. Both of them can strike. Let's make that happen. And I think for UFC fans around the world, they want to see Chimaev and Bo. They really do. I think that'd be great, dude. I think that'd be a heck of a fight. But for Bo Nickel, he's legit. He deserves a top 10 guy, his next fight. That's what I'm saying for Dana White. I understand he's only 5-6 fights in the UFC, which is insane. And we're already talking about him fighting Chimaev. I'm telling you what, Bo Nickel is a problem. He is a legit problem. And what a fight it was. It was quick. 38 seconds. Back-to-back 38-second fights for Bo Nickel. Shout out to Bo Nickel. This dude is a problem. He's going to be champion one day. And then we got Dan Hooker versus Jalen Turner. I picked Jalen Turner in this fight. I thought it would be a more calculated fight. Jalen Turner came out really aggressive, won the first round, and then Dan Hooker made some changes and really put the pressure and the pace on Jalen Turner in the rounds 2 and 3. And that's really what's the difference. And Jalen Turner started to slow down in the end of round 2, and I did not like that. I was just like, Jalen Turner was fatigued. He almost got knocked out in the end of round 2. Lucky it got to the ground. But for Dan Hooker, what a fight. What a comeback fight, really. He was down round 1. Going into round 2, it looked like Dan Hooker was going to get knocked out. He battled back. He had 172 total strikes to Jalen Turner, 113 total strikes. So Dan Hooker turned it up, aka the Hangman. He turned it up in rounds 2 and 3, and that was the difference. And he got a takedown. Jalen Turner got one takedown, even though Dan Hooker, he wanted this fight to be on the feet. Yes, even though in second round he had that ground and pound later in the rounds. But for Dan Hooker, what a win. I mean, seriously, I remember watching Dan Hooker when he fought Michael Chandler and lost to Michael Chandler by knockout. But Dan Hooker, he's legit, man. And he brought the dog out in Dan Hooker tonight. He really did. And Dan Hooker pressed him and just really turned up the fight. I thought Dan Hooker really could have finished Jalen Turner in the third round. Definitely in the end of the second round, I thought, hey, this was his time. But Dan Hooker overall, what a performance. That's probably the best performance we've seen Dan Hooker, dude, in the octagon. Of just battling resiliency, never giving up, and just continuing to press and put that cardio where Jalen Turner started to fatigue more. And you can kind of tell, you can kind of see in the rounds 2 and 3, you can kind of see, all right, this guy's starting to get a little tired. His punches aren't as explosive. His footwork is a lot slower. He's just really, his whole demeanor is just down a little bit. When guys get fatigued, they start to fight differently, and Jalen Turner was one of those guys that fought differently in this fight and lost. So shout out to Dan Hooker. I thought Jalen was going to win. I got that wrong, but shout out to Dan Hooker. And then we got Robert Whittaker losing to Dave Plessis. I can't believe this, dude. I had Robert Whittaker by knockout in this fight, and the Duplessis said, hey, no, this is my moment, and I'm going to win this fight, and he did in round 2 by TKO. It was just like, oh my gosh, when I watched this live, the end of the first round where Robert Whittaker really got bitched. And I was just like, excuse me for the language, but he just was like, dude. And I was like, Robert Whittaker never gets like that, dude. He got thrown down like a rag doll. In the end of round 1, I was like, this is not good. It's doomsday. Robert Whittaker's going to lose this fight. When little did I know he did. He lost this fight. And Duplessis, he only had 74 total strikes. And let me tell you, I didn't know much about this cat, man. He's explosive. He's fast and he's hungry, dude. And I think, we saw after this fight, Israel Adesanya come in there, talking a big game. But Adesanya, dude, I'm telling you, this guy is a problem for Adesanya, dude. He's fast, man. He loves to put pace on you. So for Izzy, man, he's going to have to keep his distance. He is the champion, so Izzy's still that guy. I just think, Duplessis, he does have a shot. I'm still going to roll with Izzy probably. But Duplessis, man, this guy is legit, dude. I didn't really know much about him. I mean, you look at him and you just see, oh, he just looks like a normal guy. Looks like a lawyer or an accountant, dude. He really does. He does not look like a UFC fighter. He's from Africa, and there were some, words exchanged with him and Izzy after this fight. But Duplessis, man, he's legit. And for Robert Whittaker, nothing to hang your hat on, but I thought for sure Robert Whittaker was going to take this fight, man. I thought he was going to take him down, ground and pound, and just use his experience over Duplessis, but it was the opposite. Duplessis was the aggressor, not the first couple minutes of the fight, but after that, it was just, he started to pour on Whittaker, and Whittaker just kind of looked fatigued going into the second round, and I'm just thinking, dude, wow. How is Robert Whittaker look fatigued already, dude? It just did not look good. So Duplessis, well-deserved. What a fight it was. And I think, Israel Adesanya has his hands full against this cat, man. This guy is fast, explosive, hungry, and I think he's really humble is what I'm seeing from him. So, he's definitely hungry here. So Izzy's going to have his hands full. And I'm telling you what, Duplessis, dude, he's going to come to fight, man. Dude, he's got some hands as well. So shout out to Duplessis over Robert Whittaker. That was my most surprising fight all weekend. I cannot believe Robert Whittaker lost, but shout out to Duplessis. And then we had the best fight all night was Brandon Moreno versus Pantoja. I can't believe this fight. Shout out to Alexander Pantoja. He's the new UFC champion. What a time. Against all odds. This fight was so close. It was by split decision. And Brandon Moreno, I think he lost this fight specifically because he got taken down 6 times. You can't do that. Alexandra, he had 6 takedowns out of 11 attempts, dude. So for him, for Pantoja, it was just like, obviously he's going to win this fight if he's going to continue to take you down in rounds 3 and 4 and even in round 5 at the end. I just thought, for Brandon Moreno, nothing to hang your hat on, but my problem is just don't let him take you down. Even though Brandon Moreno did have some reversals in the takedowns that he got taken down by, but for Brandon Moreno, he had a little bit more total strikes, 167 total strikes to Pantoja's 161 total strikes. So Pantoja, it was just like, dude, this was a war. This was a dogfight. And Brandon Moreno, I think the X factor was when he was throwing those elbows, they were working. And I thought he could have threw even more elbows. He busted Pantoja's face up, I think, in the late second round. But, this fight was amazing. I just thought, Pantoja, what the coaches, his coaches in his corner, they definitely knew what was going on. And they even said, hey, we're going to continue to go for the takedowns here because on foot, after round 3, it did not look good for Pantoja. It was just like, man, he's kind of slow, and we saw Brandon Moreno's hand speed just really just levels above him. So it was just like, a couple shots, he was going to get knocked out, and then he continued to go for the takedown and control the ground time, which he did about 4.5 minutes to Brandon Moreno's about 2.5 minutes. So I think that was the X factor. I think that's why Brandon Moreno lost this fight, because he got taken down more. 6 times, you can't get taken down 6 times in a title fight. You just can't. I think for Brandon Moreno, I think that this does deserve a rematch. I think fans here understand that, dude, this was probably the best fight on this card, even though every single fight was just crazy. But this was just a dog fight. All 5 rounds, man, every single round had something, dude. It was amazing. It really was. But for Brandon Moreno, it sucks because I picked Brandon Moreno to win this fight. He lost by split decision. So shout out to Pantoja. Against all odds, really. Nobody really had him winning this fight, even though he's beat Brandon Moreno twice before this fight. So this is 3 times already he's beat Brandon Moreno. But in this fight for Dana White, he was even asked, hey, should they fight another fight, 4th time? And I think so. I really do. I think for Brandon Moreno, he deserves a rematch. He's a former champion. He was champion before, lost it. He was champion again. Now he lost it again. And I believe in Brandon Moreno. I love this story as well. He even said he's going to be champion one day, and he manifested it. He became champion. But I just think for Brandon Moreno, it's back to the drawing boards and just get a little better on the grappling. Don't let him take you down so many times. I think if Brandon Moreno would have stuffed 3 of the half of those, the 6 takedowns that Pantoja had, if he just would have took him down 3 times, I think Brandon Moreno wins by split decision. We're talking just so close here. This fight was insane, dude, but Brandon Moreno, I'm so sad about it, but at the same time, I'm thinking, hey, this could get Brandon Moreno more hungry and even more better fighter, and I think that they should do a 4th fight the end of the year this year. I think it'd be great for Pantoja and Brandon Moreno, but shout out to Pantoja. What a time, man. Against all odds, well-deserved. He's the new UFC champion right now, but I hope my boy Brandon Moreno brings it back.